Okay. Hebrews. This is our Israel Wake Up. This is our Monday night class, the 15th of March, 2021. We're gonna kind of zero in on Q&A tonight, question and answers. Try to backtrack on some stuff that's been coming out. So see if anybody has wanted any information or anything to clarification to some of the stuff that's been said. Uh, Before we do the moment of silence, I want everybody to, if they can, to like and share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to do our moment of silence and our prayer. Okay. O Lord, I pray unto the Lord, my God, we make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keep it covenant and mercy to them that love thee and to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of face, as it is this day, to the men of Judah, to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither they have driven us, because of our trespass that we have trespassed against thee. As it is written in the laws of Moses, all this evil is come upon us in the land of our captivity, here in the Americas, Caribbean, Great Britain, and Africa. O Lord, according to all thy righteousness, I beseech thee, that thine anger and thy fury be turned away from the city Jerusalem and thy people and thy holy mountain. O Lord, hear this prayer, cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary and thy people, for the Lord's sake. O Lord, open thine eyes and incline thine ears to hear, and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do. Defer not, for thine own sake, O my Lord, for thy people and your land need you desperately. Peace be on you. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to read a little Psalms right quick. Then we're going to go into current events. Okay. You saw Psalm 69, a cry of distress. It's a Psalm of David. Save me, O God, for the waters are coming in unto my soul. I sink in deep mere, where there is no standing. I am coming to deep waters, where the floods overflow me. I am weary of my crying. My throat is dry. Mine eyes fail while I wait for my God. They that hate me without cause are more than the hairs of my head. They that would destroy me, being my enemies wrongfully, are mighty. Then I restored that I took not away. O God, thou knowest my foolishness, and my sins are not hid from thee. Let not them that wait on thee, O Lord God of hosts, be ashamed for my sake. Let not those that seek thee be confounded for my sake, O God of Israel, because for thy sake I have borne reproach. Shame have covered my face. I am become a stranger unto my brethren, and an alien unto my mother's children. For the zeal of thine house have eaten me up, and the reproaches of them that reproach thee are fallen upon me. When I wept and chastened my soul with fasting, that was to my reproach. I made sackcloth also my garment, and I became a proverb to them. They that sit in the gate speak against me, and I was a song of the drunkards. But as for me, my prayer is unto thee, O Lord, in an acceptable time. O God, in the multitude of thy mercy, hear me. In the truth of thy salvation, deliver me out of the mere, and let me not sink. Let me be delivered from them that hate me, and out of the deep waters. Let not the water flood overflow me, neither let the deep swallow me up, and let not the pit shut her mouth upon me. Hear me, O Lord, for thy loving kindness is good. Turn unto me according to the multitude of thy tender mercies, and hide not thy face from thy servant, for I am in trouble. Hear me speedily, Draw nigh unto my soul and redeem it. Deliver me because of mine enemies. Thou hast known my reproach and my shame and my dishonor. Mine adversaries are all before thee. Reproach have broken my heart, and I am full of heaviness. And I look for some to take pity, but there are none, and for comforters, but I found none. They gave me also gall for my meat, and in my thirst they gave me vinegar to drink. Let their table become a snare before them, and that which should have been for their welfare, let it be a trap. Let their eyes be darkened, that they see not, and make their loins continuously be to shake. Pour out thine indignation upon them, and let thy wrathful anger take hold of them. Let their habitation be desolate, and let none dwell in their tents. For they persecute him whom thou hast smitten, and they talk to the grief of those whom thou hast wounded. Add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness. Let them be blotted out of the book of living, and not be written with the righteous. But I am poor and sorrowful. Let thy salvation, O God, set me up on high. I will praise the name of the Lord with a song. I will magnify him with thanksgiving. This also shall please the Lord better than an ox or a bullock that have horns or hoofs. The humble shall see this and be glad, and your heart shall live that seek God. For the Lord heareth the poor, and despiseth not his prisoners. Let the heavens and the earth praise him, the seas and everything that moveth therein. For God will save Zion, and will build the cities of Judah, that they may dwell there, and have it in possession. The seed also of his servant shall inherit, and they that love his name shall dwell therein. That was the Psalms 69. There's the cry for the stress. Yeah, I wanted to read 21. Show you where they got. I talked about this the other day, how they took these things that happened to David and they put them on JC. Verse 20 says, when JC was at the cross, this Roman soldier pierced him in the side. Then he said that he thirsted, when he took his spear, dipped it in the vinegar with a cloth and stuck it in his mouth and gave him vinegar. So right here it says in 69:20, reproach have taken my heart, and I am full of heaviness. See, this right here, this the passion right here. David got the passion. 20, reproach have broken my heart, and I am full of heaviness, and I looked for some to take pity, but there was none, and for comforters, but I found none. Go back to JC's story. 21, they gave me also gall for my meat, and in my thirst, that's what JC said, I thirst, and in my thirst, they gave me vinegar to drink. That's where they got it from, right here. Okay? So, that being said, gonna go to current events. Anybody got any current events?
I don't know if you guys know, but I was reading today a little bit on the stimulus packet, and they were saying that the checks could be garnished for certain debts that you may have.
Right,
And I didn't know that, but I was just reading that in the on USA Today.
right.
Yeah. So a lot of people may be disappointed because they said this third stimulus check was not covered by, for them signing off, protecting it from, being garnished for debt.
That don't make no sense. They're all over the place because they held it off. They 2 3 months behind on issuing it out. The people need money. Now you talking about you gonna have somebody garnish it. What,
Garnish it,
what's the
right?
need?
Yep,
What's the need of sending it out?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes. But I just wanted to share that little information. I didn't know if you guys knew that or not.
yeah. I saw that the other day. I was reading
Hmm.
something that said garnish. It's subject to be garnished.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so I got a video right here. A couple of them pertaining to current events. Just like I said, I'm trying to keep everybody up on this asteroid thing because I just feel it in my bones. See right here it says, watch. I was showing you how the other day they had one a couple weeks ago on the 5th. The asteroid is supposed to pass per Earth, and then they got one scheduled for the 21st. And here go one right here, an asteroid that was discovered. They just discovered this the other day, less than a week ago. It's due to pass the Earth on March 16th. So one passed on the 5th, one passed now on the 16th, one on the 21st. So close. This right here, the asteroid that was discovered less than a week ago, is due to pass the Earth on March 16th. That's tomorrow. So closely that it will come between our planet and the moon. So we got a little picture right here. Swamp. That's it right there, the asteroid. But anyway, it says asteroid 2021 EQ3 was detected by the Mount Lehman survey and reported by NASA funded Minor Planets Center on March 11th. NASA states its first observation of the asteroid was on March 10th. So it says the space rock is thought to be traveling at 11.99 kilometers per second relative to Earth. This is equal to around 26,800 miles per hour, or 30 times faster than a handgun bullet. It is estimated to be between 52 feet and 120 feet in diameter. So like I was saying before, you see how they keep on all of a sudden, you know, especially in March, you know, when they have some, when you think about it, they got something going on with March, you know, for as the, you know, can't think of what that is, but it's, you know, they calendar, they go by that horoscope, you know, because if you remember, Julius Caesar got killed on Ides of March. That was some kind of special day, or you know, according to their calendar, it's supposed to be some kind of something special about the Ides of March.
Mm.
Yeah, so and then we know what April is. That's the 19th of April. It's a Hitler birthday.
Mm.
So anyway, yeah. Well, so let me get back over here. So like I say, all of a sudden they keep on bringing these asteroids up. Let me go here. And this right here is something else too. This got to do. This is something going. You know, it's got to do with a satanic ways too, right here. So we're gonna play this, and then we go into our information about Apple. So here we go. Wake up, wake up! Wake up, Africa! Hello and welcome, beloved, to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I'm reporting live and direct from the foothills of Mount Zion on what is supposed to be a summer day. But I swear, sometimes I actually think they're spraying the skies, beloveds. But those are definitely stories of 4 other days. Maybe I'll even record some footage, you know. But there's so much happening on the continent, the good, the bad, the ugly. And we really do want to thank our Patreon supporters and everyone who sends us love donations through PayPal for enabling us to continue to bring the relevant awakening news to our people. We don't just cover any old story or the story that will get the most likes or the story that will get the most views, but we cover a story that shows the pattern of our awakening, of our reformation, of our restoration. Because what has happened is that we are now in the mental age, and we need to
fix what's up here, the narrative we've been given about who we are as a people, and even the basics of what's happening from day to day. Thanks for all the love you guys send me in the comments. I really appreciate love. It's for you that I do this show. So this one left me kind of like, so, there's been a whole propaganda campaign to try and get, Tanzania to bow to the, overlords of the world when it comes to this pandemic. And, there's been all kinds of people saying all kinds of things. And now there's an announcement that has come out, according to Tanzanian Roman Catholic clergy, that says that more than 25 priests and 60 nuns have died in 2 months due to the pandemic. And I just thought, isn't that weird? Isn't that a little strangey strange? I mean, this sounds like a plague. And I keep saying the spirit of Eden is done with all this, religious psychosis, for real. Those are stories for other days, though. So the General Secretary of the Tanzanian Episcopal Conference, Father Charles Kitama, he came out and announced that more than 25 priests and 60 nuns and 2 elders of the laity, whatever that is, died within 2 months of various causes, including respiratory issues. Now, this Kitima, I can't call him father. He ain't no father of mine, giving these titles to these people. He made the remarks while addressing the media on various issues, especially Corona. And he has kind of become the overlord's propaganda machine in saying, this is happening, we need to do this, we need to do this. You've been seeing all the kinds of threats that Tanzania has been getting from various global factions. The media, PSYOP is also just overspinning, trying to say all kinds of things. But in a statement, Mr. Kitima, he said the deaths occurred between mid-December and February, and he said priests are dying and sisters are dying, but this number within 2 months has shocked us, especially considering the government has strengthened health systems. And I'm wondering, what's going on, beloveds? There's so much more than meets the eye. Are they letting go of their own to prove a point? Or to create drama? Would they do? Yes, they would do that. I don't know, beloveds. I just read this and I found it because, we don't read a story from the Babylon perspective. And unfortunately, a lot of our media houses are controlled by Babylonians. So the way that our people will tell the story will always be in his story vibes and not in our story vibes. So we always have to kind of put on that lens, and kind of read the story from our own perspective. And when I read it from my own perspective, 25 priests and 60 nuns between December and February. Whoa. I've been talking about the great transition, how there is a great transition of the spiritual God, how the children of Lucifer have and must and will hand over the rightful rulership to the descendants of the Queen of Sheba. That's all code, by the way. But this kind of left me I don't know. What's the agenda? There's an agenda behind this story for sure. Is the Tanzanian government now going to demand to see the, proof of death? I don't know. I'm not being insensitive, but I'm just I don't know. Let me know in the comments. What do you think? On this one?
Okay. Any comment? What anybody think?
Yeah, that is a little strange.
Right, yeah.
60 nuns. Oh my goodness.
Right.
Within 2 months?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Definitely going on.
Exactly.
Right. We got this video right here.
This is no mind where I'm at. I got to come y'all with the Listen, man, I'm from something y'all gonna blow y'all mind. Remember, I did a video on GMOs, and I showed y'all where in India how farmers by the thousands were committing suicide. Some you'll never hear over here in the States. Now I'm going to show you a video where they are saying that Rockefeller, Bill Gates, and all of them has been storing all the organic seeds in a vault. It's called the seed vault, Doomsday Seed Vault. When you see this video, it's going to blow your mind. And now some people speak about a vault being storing seeds since like 1984, which I don't put in that past these folks. You got to understand, these folks are basically playing God on a whole nother level, giving us these GMO seeds that's creating cancer and all type of other diseases. These are the same people y'all vote for. These are the people that are running our lives. These are the people that are putting forth what they think the world should be. And then it don't involve you. It don't. So check this video out, and I want y'all to get a good understanding. And if you don't believe me, go research how the farmers in India commit suicide by the thousands. Something they don't talk about. And also research Monsanto if y'all don't know about it. But if y'all got any information, drop the comment. Other people read this stuff. You get what I'm saying? But with no further ado, man, y'all check out this video. And just if they are storing organic seeds in a vault, like that should scare you. Check this out.
Do you know why then Rockefeller, the Ford Foundation, and Linda and Bill Gates Foundation, I don't know, are paying for the Starvald Vault in Norway to keep all the seeds that are not GMO? What is your stake on it?
The question was about why the Gates Foundation and the Rockefeller Foundation, Syngenta, which is one of the largest GMO corporations, a British Swiss company, why they financed the creation of a nuclear-proof seed vault to store all the seed varieties of the entire planet up near the Arctic Circle, inaccessible by Greenpeace boats or almost anything. What's going on with that? What interest do they have? The BBC, when they did a story on it years ago, called it the Doomsday Seed Vault. I don't know. I can't answer that, but it sure is a scary thing to me. Are they planning to do something to the seed varieties of the entire planet and then be the ones who control what comes out and in what form it's genetically manipulated or not? I don't know, but it certainly is a very scary thing. One of the first things to happen when the U.S. bombed Saddam Hussein's Iraq back to the Stone Age in 2003, Iraq is the cradle of civilized agriculture, the Tigris-Euphrates Valley, Mesopotamia. And there was a seed bank of wheat varieties in a place in Iraq called Abu Ghraib. We've heard about it all through the prison. Well, during the course of the U.S. bombing of Iraq, that seed bank in Abu Ghraib disappeared. Nobody could say where it went. The farmers had to depend on the USAID to get seeds to plant wheat for the next harvest after the war. And nobody has been able to verify this yet. I talked with an Iraqi woman living in the US, but she was trying to verify this, that these would be GMO wheat varieties. Perhaps you know if that has been introduced into Iraq by deception. But the seed vault in Svalbard is 1984. It's really scary. I don't know.
See what I'm saying? Now, like I said, we need a people's committee, because no one's gonna challenge this. They're all in cahoots. They're all getting paid. But we sitting back just waiting and waiting. They're getting more and more powerful. They're brainwashing people more and more, finding more and more ways to carry out their plan. Or we just sit here and ain't doing nothing. Doing nothing. Come on, people. We can't keep letting these people run our lives. I can't do it by myself. You can't do it by yourself. We have to come together. We have to form a committee. And we have to challenge these things because it's for our kids. It's for our own sake. Who give these people authority to store all the organic seeds? And why you ain't hearing nothing about these people, these farmers in India that's committing suicide? Please do your research. I've done videos on this stuff. Do your research on it. Just look it up. And it'll go deeper than what you think. But if Bill Cosby do something, we know why they did that to Bill Cosby. I keep bringing this up as an example. They put people like that. They done crucified this man's whole legacy. You knew about that. R. Kelly, you knew about that. All the stuff they don't want you to know about, they will not put it out there. This is why they create newspapers, social media. It's all propaganda. You know what I'm saying? Just look it up for yourself. But hopefully this got your wheels turning. These people are storing all the organic seeds of the world. And like he said, that's scary. So,
Okay. Any comments?
Oh wow. Remember, you know, when I don't know if Papa Duck put it out or somebody else did, where Bill Gates was talking about buying up all the farmland.
Yeah, he is buying it up.
Right, he is buying it up, exactly. And remember, Bill Gates also was the one that said that the population is too thick. You know, he also said that.
Right.
You know, and you playing that video earlier today, I watched a video by Redirecting on Bill Gates, and he was saying that synthetic beef is the right choice to save the planet.
Okay.
So he's trying to go to, you know, synthetic meat.
Is that so?
Yeah, so you gotta think about, you know, all of that. But yeah.
You know, it's just letting you know they got a plan. They got a plan.
Right.
And it's coming soon. That's all you see. Everything that's all falling in place. Yeah.
That's something else.
Oh yeah.
Talking about in order to save the planet, we got to transition to synthetic beef.
Right.
I'm like, wow.
And them Chinese been dealing with them hogs and all the animals over there. They dealing with if they ain't synthetic, they clones.
Right.
It ain't no real meat. It ain't no legitimate meat. Yeah. The guy was talking about how they didn't shut the honey market down. They're making some kind of bogus honey. It ain't got any, it's not coming from the bees. It's coming from somewhere else. Yeah, so they pretty much cornered the market with that stuff because people buying it by the barrels, and it ain't even no real honey. And they know it, but they still buying it because they can, they making money off of it. They cutting the cost.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all the Chinese will buy. It's cutting the cost, giving you.
Right.
They ain't about giving you the product for your money for your product, whatever they call it. It ain't about that. It's about them getting the money and they giving you whatever they can, some kind of generic all brand product.
Right.
Ain't gonna last that long.
Giving us anything to save them a buck and put more money in their pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Is that something? Yeah, so with that being said, I'm gonna play this here before I'm gonna read out of the book of Jasher, then we go into some Q&A, and nobody else have anything, we close out. This guy right here, I thought this was profound because it's about stuff I've been talking about Harry, talking about Harry. So let me look at it right quick. And then the thing about it is this guy right here is part of that that's the group that's in Caribbeans that's dealing with the reparations. The Caribbeans are the ones the closest to getting reparations out of all the people that's out of all the groups. So here we go.
African People's Socialist Party, and I'm the leader of the Uhuru Movement and the International African Revolution. I want to welcome everybody for coming on today. As you know, our intent is to speak to this question of Meghan Markle and this fairy tale colonial story that surrounds her and surrounds her relationship with the Buckingham Palace and British royalty. As you have probably seen early on, I had initiated the process where I thought we'd be talking about Meghan Markle, and I retreated from that initially because I'm concerned that we use this time in a way that's going to really help to forward the understanding, our understanding as African people, as the oppressed and exploited of the world, of the relationship that we have with our oppression and our exploitation, and what it's going to take to win our freedom. And like most of you, was almost overwhelmed by the by the amount of media and stories that's been thrown in our faces surrounding this issue of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. And I have concluded, subsequent to the initial thought that I had about doing this discussion on Meghan Markle, that it would be a good thing to do. Because most of what has transpired up to now in terms of any kind of analysis and discussion around this issue has only contributed to our confusion, and perhaps much of it was designed to be misinformed and to help us come to the worst, the wrong kinds of conclusions. And so I think it's appropriate that we should engage in this discussion. And I know that our approach to this discussion is going to be different from what you've perceived up to now. All of us are aware of the interview that was done of the two actresses, Meghan Markle and Oprah Winfrey, along with Prince Harry, that it garnished, it got so much attention from all around the world. And it initiated extreme pressure on Buckingham Palace, that is to say, the royal family of England, to the point that I've seen now that Queen Elizabeth, who was treated quite gently in that discussion that happened with Oprah Winfrey between her and Markle and Harry, that the Queen was saddened by what transpired in terms of that interview. And so that she's saying something that the royal family is going to address this question in privacy. It was something to watch and to behold, to see the feigned astonishment coming from Oprah Winfrey that the possibility of somebody in the royal family being concerned about what color that baby was going to be, that Meghan Markle was going to give birth to, that was a child of Harry, and that somehow the family had more or less disinherited Harry and Meghan Markle, and that Meghan Markle and Harry's children would not be in line for the throne. So this discussion was something, and it was put forth in a way that people were exclaiming, how racist it is, and what an extraordinary thing. And some people were concerned because the British just had missed this grand opportunity to show the whole British Empire that the royal family was a reflection of all of the parts of the empire, of the remaining parts of the empire. That we have this dark woman, and going to have the dark children who would be a part of this nobility now, and that how that could help to soften and democratize the image of the royalty in England. And so some people were saying that this is just a missed opportunity. It's wonderful that bring them in and embrace them and show how England is a part of this era of inclusivity and people living together here. It's going to be an example of how peoples all around the world can get along together, and England is going to be that kind of example. So that's kind of sort of what we've been looking at up to now. And of course, you know, there are the stories about the fact that Meghan Markle's father is a conniving liar who announced that himself, that he's a liar. He's been hustling, making money off of her relationship, that is to say, Meghan Markle's relationship with Harry and the royal family, and then he's lied to the media, he's made money doing that, and then Meghan Markle's sister or half-sister, or however it is that it is characterized, who is also hustling and saying, making statements about Meghan Markle that she couldn't possibly know because they really have never lived together, but she's hustling as well and trying to make dollars, make money, and make a reputation from the fact that Meghan Markle had married into the royal family. We've seen all of that, and of course it's created some kind of distress for some people and astonishment for some people. But these are people who don't even understand like some of the questions even that you can see in popular mediums about monarchy, and some of that coming out of from England itself, that's popular television series and shows, and some of this even and stories, not just British but European monarchy altogether, royalty, where people assassinate and kill members of their own families who might be coming too close to the throne, might be getting in the way of some other family member who they think should be next in line for the throne. We've seen all of that kind of stuff happen. We know about that stuff, even if it's only given to us in some fictitious form. And much of it is not fictitious in the sense that this stuff happened, and it does happen. People have poisoned each other. People have locked their family members in towers. I mean, Alexander Dumas, the African who lived in France for a long period of time and who became more or less the father of French literature, who wrote all these stories about this kind of reality that's become popular even up to date. The things that we read about the person in the iron mask and part of the royalty that was locked up. So these stories are abound, but they are fanciful stories. They are stories that probably enhances the whole romantic notion of royalty and monarchy and what this was all about. So when we look at the Meghan Markle story, it is a story that's full of drama. We have a so-called mixed race woman from the United States who marries a British prince, fulfilling the fairy tale dream of millions of women who have been seduced by the idea of being swept off their feet by a romantic figment of the imagination of Europeans from years ago that dressed up the life of European royalty during the Middle Ages. You know, this is where you have the knight in shining armor who rise up, and this is something that's projected even today. You know, little girls around the world go and get toys and dolls and things like that. Imagine themselves to be princes and who are going to have this wonderful prince that will be their lovers and will take them into the palaces and live this happy, wonderful life thereafter. And so what we're looking at is really a form of government. When you start talking about things like kings and princes and queens, this is a form of government that's called monarchy. And this was the form of government during the era in Europe, during the era of European feudalism. That it was the form of government and a political economy that came before the capitalist social system. Feudalism was a social system too, and it came before the capitalist social system that dominates the world today. And European feudalism was ended by revolutions that overthrew monarchy as a form of government in most places in Europe. And England was one of the few exceptions where this did not happen completely. Now, I'm not denying that this form of monarchy didn't exist in some other places. I'm not denying that it did exist. And in fact, it does exist. I mean, when you look at Saudi Arabia, the some of what happened with these Arab Emirates and things like that. But what you're looking at then, there, and now is still a social. You're still looking at governments that can constitute what might be called monarchy, but it happens under the total domination of the capitalist system as the world economy. And even of much of what we look at in terms of Saudi Arabia and some of these other places were created by the Europeans, imperialists who carved it out and put the different people in place. And so when we look at what we call the monarchy in the Middle East, etc., it's something that's contextualized by the power of European colonialism, European imperialism, the capitalist system that came from the whole process of European monarchy and the feudal system. And also, this system exists in Thailand. There is monarchy, and monarchies are despotic. They achieve their influence, their power, their significance, not through any relationship to the people. They achieve their significance through what was referred to during the period where feudalism really dominated philosophy and ideology, a world outlook that said that the kings had their power through, that they got their rights. It was divine rights, God-given rights to the king. So the people didn't give the king any rights. The people didn't give the queen any rights. The people didn't give any of them any rights, and they were not accountable to the people. If they said that this is a time of divine rights of kings. And I think it's really important that when we look at monarchy, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about feudalism, particularly coming out of Europe, where the people had no rights, and which is one of the things that we find disturbing by sometimes African brothers and sisters who try to describe each other in a way that suggests our influence and our power and our significance by addressing ourselves as kings and queens and things like that. And of course, this is too something that comes from European monarchy. And the idea that being a king and a queen was just the highest standard or the highest state of existence that a human being could happen. And so they had relegated the European feudalism, monarchy, and then capitalism had relegated Black people to the lower state of existence, of worthlessness, that becoming kings and queens ourselves was something that we use in terms of words to elevate ourselves to great significance. But you don't want to be a king and you don't want to be a queen because this monarchy comes from feudalism, and it doesn't have any relationship or respect for the rights of the people. It's based on some supposed relationship that these people have with God, and that they transfer power from themselves to next in line in terms of their own families. And this is why you see within the royal families people cutting each other's throats, doing horrible things to make sure that their child or they would be the next in line to be the dominant ruler of the kingdom.
Okay, we're at the halfway point. Anybody get anything out of that? Anybody get anything out of that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't get to hear it all. I had started watching him earlier, and then I switched to watching something else. But
Okay.
it, what for one thing, it, we know for a fact that them people came from Europe, where
Right.
yeah, their nobility was made up stuff, and there's no basis or no foundation for nobility with them. Absolutely none, none. Okay, um, and they're the queen and Philip, not Philip, whatever his name is, her husband. Didn't they come from Germany? Aren't they realistically Germans?
Right. Yeah. Right. They changed their
Yeah,
name. They changed their names.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, to, yeah, and not only that, they racist, but they claim to be related historically to Egyptians.
Right.
Egyptians are
Right.
black. They was black back then before them, and they black today. The true ones are. So you know, that's what I notice people would seem to be missing out on expressing that if they claim to be related in some kind of way back in the day to Egyptians, how you gonna be a racist? That don't make sense. So that
Well,
in of itself,
right. That's why I keep on shining the light on. I mean, when you started you're not doing no research and none of that. You really, everybody always seem like think they have a right to say this or say that, but if you haven't done no research and you don't really understand what's going on, the best thing to do is just listen. Cause cause of like with 29, the 29th dynasty is Macedonians. That's what I keep
okay,
on. See what I'm saying? The 29th dynasty in Egypt is Macedonian. So when you say that, I got my two older sisters, which they came along back in like in the 67, 68, 69 when they had the black school and they had black they had their own textbooks, right? And they got everybody thinking that Cleopatra was a black queen. She wasn't no black queen. Cleopatra was a Macedonian. When Alexander died, his four generals took his kingdom over. Ptolemy, which is an Edomite, a Caucasian, took Egypt. So the 29th dynasty was Macedonians. That's what she's talking about. When I was telling you the other day when she said that and then we know Herod, those are Edomites, those are white folks. They stole the land of Israel. So she's saying, she's professing that her lineage goes back to the kings of Egypt, pharaohs of Egypt, and the kings of Israel. And so in a way it do, but she's really taunting the people because people don't know what she's really saying. So it was white folks that stole the land of Israel, and it was white folks in the 29th dynasty of Egypt. That's what she's saying.
Okay.
And so go ahead.
You saying in reference to the queen?
Yeah, that lineage that's over there in the Great Britain. They came from that royal family came from 70 AD. When I showed you the Herod, they gave Herod safe passage to Spain.
Okay, right. Okay, I get it. Um, I get it. So in other words, they hijacked the.
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And then they don't tell you the story. The reason why I keep going over it is the book of Obadiah. Israel was ran out by Antioch Epiphanes, but what they trying to make you think they smooth all that together when Zerubbabel and Zechariah and all them came out of Babylon after the 70 years, came back into the land. Where after that they was given 490 years to make up for the 490 years where they wasn't keeping the land. Well, they didn't do right. They started back doing it again. Antioch Epiphanes came, but they got history, or they didn't create a history where it make it look like those are the same people. They came out of Babylon with Zerubbabel, and then they was ran off. Then Esau stole the land, but they got history making you think all that's flowing is the same people, all the way to 70 AD. That's how they even got over. The same way with Egypt. So, but you have to understand what happened, So when he talking about feudalism and all that and kings and all that, I'm in Deuteronomy chapter 2. So remember when they went well, let's look over this. We're gonna look at this first, then I go into that. I'm in Deuteronomy chapter 2. You got everybody got it?
Yes.
Okay, so you go to verse 10. Deuteronomy 2 and 10. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So that says the Eman. See that I am? Dwelt therein in times past a people great and many and tall as the Anakim. The Anakim, the I am on the end of that. So then it says 11, which also were counted giants. See that? As the Anakim, but the Moabites called them Eman. And then 12, verse 12, the Horim also dwelt in it. So all these is kings. These giants got is kings. These giants got crowns on. These giants got they know how to make metal, which they got it from Tubal-Cain. Tubal-Cain was shown by Lucifer how to make metal, fashion metal. So these kings, these giants coming out when the Israelites coming through coming to the land of Canaan and going through the wilderness, they started coming across these different races of giants, and that king that was over them would come out and post up in front of them, and he had these crowns on. So this is what this brother he don't understand. He don't really understand what he's talking about. But this is what's going on. We didn't got caught up in their system, just like the Most High said. He kicked us out of the land, and we're gonna go. Let me read that. Deuteronomy 28. Hold that chapter 2 because I'm not finished with it. So I'm in Deuteronomy 28. Verse 64, 28, Deuteronomy 28 and 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other. There thou shalt serve other gods. Els. See, these angels, Els. That's who the giants are worshiping. It says, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the soles of thy feet have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling of heart, and a failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. So we see right here, he cast them out. We cast us out amongst these people. They worshiping these gods. They worshiping these angels, these giants, which is kings. So when they got by the time they got to the land of Egypt, they had came across so many kings and giants that's what they wanted. That's why the Most High, they chose Saul, because Saul was head and shoulders taller than everybody else. That's why they chose him, because they emulating the giants that they had seen with the crowns on. So when he was talking about the feudal system, that's what was going on in Europe. Because when you understand what's going on with that situation, when you look at the world map, it was giants all over the land of Canaan. Well, Moses came first killing giants. Then Moses passed. Joshua came killing giants, and then so it was they came in at the bottom of the land of Canaan, where it's giants all in the land, all up at the top of there. So the giants at the top started fleeing. They saw that the Israelites was killing everything in their way. Well, they fled around up into where Europe. They fled up all in Europe, all in that area where later on Julius Caesar and the Roman Empire was killing them. The so-called what's those people called? Boudica. Well, they had this lady called Boudica and Uric, all those different I can't think of the name of those people. I'm tipping my tongue, but they was living in the land of Britain. They called them I can't think of the name. Anyway, so those are the same people. They fled from the land of Canaan because of what Joshua and Moses and them was doing, and David and them was doing. They was killing giants. So they fled. A bunch of them fled and ended up over in that area where Rome and Italy and all that. Giants ended up over there. And so that's what's going on with this right here. That's the system that was in place. And like Moses said, I was telling you how he said that we know that Mesarine is a giant. Ham had 4 sons, but Mesarine is a giant. So that lets you know that these angels came down and they was intermingling with women from Ham's lineage. That's how you got Mesarine. These giants so they the ones that was oppressing the Israelites. because he tells us Mizraim and Egyptians and the Mizraim are the same people. They're giants. So he says that his people oftentimes went down to Egypt, and the Egyptian, the Mizraim, oppressed them. So that's the same system that we're under now. The same system right here with these they're talking about the 13 families. These 13 families are tied to, they call them blue bloods. They're tied to this giant lineage. Sapien, giant lineage. And that's what's going on. And they DNA is they oppressive. They gonna get the people, the locals, and the original people of the land. They're gonna oppress them and have them working for them. And that's the system that we in now. That system was transferred over to capitalism. It's the same system. It's the system these giants and these fallen angels concocted. That's what we up under. They have an oppressive mindset. So go back to Deuteronomy 28, Deuteronomy chapter 2 right quick. Then we go, and so it says, Deuteronomy chapter 2. And if you go to verse 20, it says, that also was accounted a land of giants. Giants dwelled therein in old times, and the Amalekites called them Zezimim, and the people were great, many, and tall. So this is the system that he talked about that was put in place by these giants. They're still in place now that we're dealing with, tied to the Roman Catholic Church and all that. Shalom.
Shalom.
Okay, so I'm gonna play the other. Anybody got any comments on that? On what was just said? The questions about it? I'm gonna play the last half of this. So when he said feudalism, the feudal lords, that's what's going on. These giants are lords. They was lords. They running the land. It may be like when the 12 spies went to spy out the land of Canaan, said they saw Anan and his 4 brothers. So it ain't that many of them. So they oppressing the rest of the people because they the big giant. They brutes. They the biggest ones. So him and his brothers was oppressing them, just like Goliath was oppressing the Philistines. He was the champion. They go by, they rule by brute strength. Okay.
And so what we look at is on the European feudalism, which is what we're talking about. The work wasn't done. The nobility didn't do any work. Kings and queens.
See what I'm saying? The king, they're oppressing. That's what the Most High talking about when he said oppressive, being oppressive. That's the spirit that's on these giants. That's the spirit he's talking about in Genesis chapter 6. Let me read it right quick. He says, Genesis chapter 6. Genesis chapter 6 says, it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God, these giants, these angels, saw that the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And then it says, and the Lord said, my spirit, see that? This spirit right here, this oppressive spirit, and this perverted sexuality and all that, homosexuality, ain't spirit that he put in Adam. There's another spirit. Then he tell you where the spirit is at. The reason he said what he said in verse 4, there were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of God came in into the daughters of men, and they bore children unto them, the same became mighty men as giants, which were of old, men of renown. That spirit, that's the spirit that's in them. This oppressive spirit that's his brother breaking down right here. That's in the Europeans. Because they descendants from these giants.
They didn't do the work. The work was done by serfs and peasants, and they were tied to the land. And feudalism was the next closest thing to slavery for white people in Europe. Except the peasants and serfs could not be bought and sold as under a system of slavery. But They were permanently tied to the land. And if the land was sold, they went with the land that was owned by the nobility, the lords, the kings, the princes, the dukes, and the duchess, if you will.
So let's look at that right quick. So let's go all the way back to Genesis chapter Genesis chapter 4, verse 10. This is the curse of Cain. And Genesis chapter 4, verse 10 says that he said, "What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother blood cried under me from the ground." So he killed his brother. They ain't got the same daddy. Adam came from like he said, they connected to the land. Adam was formed from the earth, and Abel was formed from the earth. Cain came about from the serpent. He killed his brother. There go the spirit right there, the 11. And now art thou cursed from the earth. See that? Which have opened her mouth to receive her brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, see that? So he can't. The earth one can't deal with him. So he's gonna come in and get the local people, the people that's connected to the ground, get them to do all the work, and they reap the benefits. They are invasive species. 12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee of strength. Fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, right, Lord of hosts, my punishment is greater than I can bear. I mean, he can't deal with the earth. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from the face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. And the Lord God said unto him, therefore, whosoever slay Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest anyone finding him shall slay him. So, like I said, they started right here, hoodwinking us. They want to come and say some kind of earring that he put in his ear was the mark, or some kind of carving. They cut his skin or something on the forehead, but the mark he put on him was he turned him white. The book of Lamech tells us that. He cursed him just like he did Miriam. When the Most High get angry with somebody, his anger is kindled, he cursed him, he turned white. So he turned him white. And so now we see, I just was telling you what happened in Egypt. They came in as an invasive species and oppressed the original people there and started ruling the 29th dynasty. They did the same thing in Israel in the book of Obadiah. They came in, stole the land from the original people and oppressed them, and they took over. And they didn't switch history all the way around to make all that look legitimate. It's just like they went to Australia. They went to all them areas. It was dark-skinned people there. And then now when you go over there now and say looking for the Australians, then all the white folks pop up. But they invasive species. They came in and stole the land and stole it from the original people and got them to working for them. And they ain't doing no work because we see right here it's a curse on them with the earth. And the earth is the mama. The earth is the woman. So you didn't oppress her children. She ain't trying to deal with you. You came in and cyborg her children. Now you trying to, deal with her. So that they can't receive from the land. They can't receive from the earth. And that's what Most High is talking about when he says oppressive spirit. And that's why he's telling them don't mingle with them. Don't deal with them because that spirit is in them. So just that little conversation right here alone show you he ain't bringing no Gentiles into no fold. He ain't drafting no Gentiles in.
Right.
That's another story right there. Like I said, with Paul and all them, it those up them lies. But like I said, the Most High raising people up now, and those lies being uncovered. So with everything I done said, now we know. All you have to do is go look at Paul took 3 journeys 4 journeys. He took 3 or 4 journeys, and you can look at him and go Google him, whatever. He went to Europe. So who is he going to? He going to these Edomite Jews that stole the land of Israel. They was kicked out in 70 AD. And so, like I said, you got these diehard Christians and diehard Jesus freaks. When you show them this, and all they have to do is go look at the map, and it's going to confirm what I'm telling you. But then you want to act like you didn't see that. Paul, all these 4 journeys is in Europe. Everybody that's now saying they awakened. If you awaken, you know the Israelites was on the west coast of Africa, and they wasn't there just for no 3 or 4 days. They got the Ashanti kingdom, they got the Mali kingdom, they got all these kingdoms. Kingdom that was in Ghana, them kingdoms had existed for hundreds of years. That's because that's where they was at from 143 BC. They was on the west coast of Africa. When Paul was making his journeys, he was going to Edomites that was kicked out of Israel in 70 AD and went into all those different countries in Europe. The Israelites on the west coast of Africa. So you got a problem. Jesus, the New Testament, all that. So you got a problem. Once that's revealed to you, and you want to deal with the truth, you gotta do something with that. Okay. Let this other part play.
The peasants could not even keep all of what they produced on the land. Most of it went to the nobility, the lords, etc. This is where the term landlord comes from, that we are familiar with today. And the story of the mythological Robin Hood, who robbed from the rich to give to the poor, stems from this feudal era in England. The people had no rights at all, and only thing they did was to grow food and to make resources that they turned over to the nobility, to the kings, the queens, the lords, and the rest of that. That's how this whole system operated.
That came about from the result of what the Most High put on Cain. And now that the seed taken over, this is what you got. You got feudalism. They oppressing all other people to get them to do something that they can't do. And like the brother was just telling us, they done stole all the original seeds. You know?
Glorifying today when they talk about the royal family in Buckingham Palace in England. So the fact is that much of what this feudalism looked like, you saw happen to African people in the southern parts of the United States, where we were sharecroppers. We were able to keep a tiny portion of what it is that we produce, and the rest of it went to the landlord, the person who owned the land. We were sharecroppers on this land. This is based on the same principles of feudalism that we are talking about. So it was European slavery and colonialism, which is the domination of Africa and Africans and other people and our resources, that led to the revolution that ended European feudalism and brought capitalism into birth as a world economic system that we live under today. The European pirates, the slavers, the so-called explorers began to bring in so much money, so much loot, that they became richer and more powerful than the monarchies, than the monarchs, than the princes, than the lords and the nobility and the kings and the queens, who had previously monopolized the emerging economy of selling black people. They made revolution to overthrow the king and the royalty and the entire feudal system, because they wanted to control all the loot that was coming from colonial theft from other lands and peoples. They made revolutions in the name of free trade, freedom to engage in slavery, challenging the monopoly on slave trading that was held by the nobility and the royal trading companies, like in England and other places. This is what this struggle emerged, coming from colonial domination of peoples, and so this is where the capitalist revolutions came from. They were called democratic revolutions because they freed the Europeans from feudalism, but they kept the system of colonial slavery in place. So they removed the system, they freed Europeans from feudalism, but the process that freed Europeans from feudalism placed and kept African people under colonial slavery. This is where capitalism came from. So this system of colonial slavery was kept in place, and hundreds of millions of people were kept under savage colonial slavery, so that capitalist freedom could be provided for Europeans and white people at our expense. And
so it says the four beasts are four systems, right?
Right.
Okay. We're looking at the four beasts right here. The brother tell you it's a system that's sitting in place. It's the four beasts. All four of them, where they coming from? The mind of these Cain, the mind of Esau, the mind of these giants. It's an oppressive system. All four systems. So this is the last one we're dealing with right here. Okay.
And so this is the system that continues to dominate the world today. The major difference is that in the past, under feudalism, colonialism was when Europeans went to other lands and simply stole the people's resources and then sent those resources back to Europe.
A fugitive and a vagabond travels. That's what these people do.
Right. They just move around from place to place. Right. Okay. Right.
Because the earth ain't giving them nothing.
Okay.
So now you go back to what I keep on telling you, who Japhet is. He ain't none of Ham's son. And it's stuck him in there. And it's stuck him in there to make it look like these are all the same people. You got people saying Ham, Shem, and Japhet was black, and they showing that, but you when you look at the situation, you look at it, how was Shem, Ham, and Japhet
Noah's son?
Yeah, Noah's son. We know the Greeks, when they came on the scene, they was blonde head and blue eyes. It wasn't no black. Most High told him to go get a male and a female from all flesh. That's how Japhet on the road. He's a white man. Yeah.
Their mother country, as it was called. And many European colonizers began to want all the loot for themselves and fought what they call revolutions to keep from sending things back to Europe, like in the United States, and like in much of what is South America. Many also preferred not to go back to Europe, where they had less freedom, they had less money, they had less prestige, and they were able to steal from those of us they colonized when they were here. So they were called settler colonialists, as distinguished from colonialism as it started in so many ways. Now you had these settlers, these white people who came to our land. They came to South Africa. They came to Palestine. They came to what we call the Americas. They came to New Zealand. They came to Canada. They came to Australia. They came all of these places and they settled there. And this became a part of the whole process of building the whole capitalist system. So Indians of India,
covered all that
Africans in Africa and throughout the world in places to which we were forcibly dispersed, along with our people in Australia and the Pacifics, Mexicans, other indigenous of the Americas, all live under colonial capitalism today. But it has become necessary for the colonizer to claim that we are all the same. The colonizer and the colonized, the oppressed and the oppressor. Otherwise, the colonized would rise up and take back our freedom and our resources. So they claim that we're all citizens. But our reality shows that this is a lie. This is why the whites live so much better than the rest of us, because they are the colonizers and we are the colonized. This is why the whites are protected by the laws that killed and imprisoned us, regardless of what their constitution and other so-called sacred democratic documents claim to represent. The colonized will have to win our freedom and end the system of colonial slavery. In the same way, the Europeans won their freedom from feudalism. They made revolution. The colonized will have to make revolution also to overturn the system and free all of our people. Colonialism enslaves whole nations of people who are most often distinguished from the colonizer because the colonizers are mostly from Europe. that I know that there are elements of the African petty bourgeoisie and perhaps even some misguided, misdirected African people from the working class who are really disappointed because Megan's children are not going to be able to ascend to the royal family. They are not going to be in line to become princes and things like that. Despite the fact that increasingly many of us are becoming aware of where the whole colonial system comes from and what colonialism has done in terms of enslaving our people. And this is how Europeans, how white people escape from poverty, escape from colonialism, escape from feudalism, that rather they escape from feudalism through colonialism, through robbing and looting Africans and other oppressed people around the world. The majority of the people on the planet Earth have now been sacrificed for so-called democratic rights for Europeans, for white people that gave rise to capitalism. So no, Megan, there is no Santa Claus. And the Tooth Fairy is also a colonial invention. If you do not believe me, ask Elijah and Itimu or Kali, who are children of Kobina and Aisha in our Marcus Garvey youth program in Huntsville, Alabama. These are elementary and middle school children. Or ask Brooklyn and Brianna and Zion and Aliyah, the elementary and middle school children of T'Chawa and Nzeyi and Masimba and Herdoshia, Columbayi, Bentham, and North St. Louis. And no matter how hard you try, Megan, you and your children, or whatever the latest fashionable name the colonizer has conferred upon us, until we achieve national liberation and workers' power known as socialism. And Megan, I suspect it's too late for you, but you can commit class suicide. You can abandon the interests of the petty bourgeoisie. You can abandon the interests of some kind of presumed royalty, royal family, royal rights that came at the expense of the enslaved. And you can commit class suicide and you can unite with the aspirations of the impoverished, colonized masses of people around the world, many subject even today to British colonialism. And doing so gives you an opportunity to join the Advanced Attachment, the African People's Socialist Party, the African Socialist International. And you can do this, just like everybody else who is participating in this discussion today, to the African nation. Go to apspuhuru.org. Join the revolution, not the royalty, not feudalism, not some step backwards to a time when even Europeans were cutting off the heads of nobility, trying to break free from that. Join the revolution, join the party. Go to apspuhuru.org. Vanguard up. Uhuru.
Long, brother. Anybody got any questions? Comments? No questions.
I just have a question on Harry, like the way he is really sticking by Megan, you know, because he knows better than anybody because he's the insider, right?
Right.
So why do you think he is really sticking by Megan through all of this?
It's a facade.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they using her as the you know, the one to stir up. It's got to be a racist. You know, you can't proclaim racism if ain't no black person on the scene.
Right.
So they brought her on the scene to stir up the racism. They just this ain't just start. They started when they brought Obama on there. When they put Obama in the White House, and not only for 4 years, they drug it out for 8 years. And then all the people got all stirred up and start feeling all a certain type of way. And as soon as they finish that, they come back with the racist, the worst white man you can get, and put him in there. And then now they got the pot stirred up real good. Now they coming with this. How these people will operate. They get, like I was telling you, they got that Harps, and I tell you, and I'll tell people about Harps and how the capabilities of what Harps can start hurricanes. It can cause earthquakes, but it also can start riots. They can send a frequency out to a certain area, but what they have to do, they have to first stir it up and get everybody get their emotions churning, and then they can send that frequency there, and then make it intensify it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you say, what you talking about? Go and Google the Summer Rage. Google that. And, go on YouTube and type that in. That's how they overturned the Middle East. It came over there and stirred up the Middle East, and got everybody all going. After they came in there and overturned Saddam Hussein and brought the Americans in there. Them Arabs wasn't going for that. Then they stirred up that 2,000-year-old conflict between the Sunni and the Kurds. And after they got it going, then all of a sudden the whole Middle East toppled. They call it the Summer Rage. They started using that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Started having riots all over the place. And like I said, look over here. They're doing the same thing now. They're working on America. They're from the top of America the same way. Like I said, you think the Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and all that stuff, the trials coming up, they're coming up for a reason.
Right.
They're stirring up anger and resentment and all that, which is already civil rights already there. The racism, the blacks and the whites is already conflict, an age-old conflict that's been going on forever with that. That's how they operate. But the masses have no idea that these people have these capabilities.
Right. And Megan was out of the palace just as fast as she was in there, and I think it was because she was seeing a lot that was going on behind the scenes, and she couldn't handle it. She wasn't ready for, and plus they wasn't gonna let her stay there too long. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what's happening with Diana.
Right.
Diana made statements about she witnessed the guy, the old man, transforming in front of her to a circle. He shapeshift. They shapeshift. They got
right.
All you do is look at him. Look at that one dude. That one guy. How he walk.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was saying, I was telling everybody to get that book, The Biggest Secret, by David Icke, and he started out. Chapter 1 is talking about serpents.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, you have to ask yourself, what's the first thing happened in the garden? What showed up in the garden?
The serpent. A
serpent. So it ain't like you talking crazy. It's a serpent. So
right.
So he showed you in there how those like I was saying before, David said that when Daniel said the spirit, which is an angel, he said it's the angel entered into me, right? So that's another one of these characteristics that these angels have. They can enter into you. So ain't that what demonic spirits do?
Yes.
So the guy was showing you how when somebody get possessed by one of these serpents, show you how they walk. You got to go look at the book though, and then look at that. I'm telling you some big stuff now. We're going all the way in. So look at how that old man walked. Look at what he showed you in the book. How when that's the reptile or that serpent possessed that person. And he showed you how they walk. Then look at him. Just go back and look at some of the wedding processions and all that when they walk and when they do it all over with their little military uniforms on. Look how he walk. Okay. And you ain't even got to look at that. Look at him. He looked like a damn serpent.
Mm-hmm.
And he Greek. That's what I'm saying. So let's look at it right quick anyway. Look what the Most High said.
Okay.
Nobody knows this, but he's talking about, he's prophesying about Antioch Epiphanes coming to Jerusalem. So let's look at it. I'm in Isaiah chapter 19. Like I said, people read a lot of stuff, but they don't have no idea what they read until You know, most I bring somebody and break it down for them.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do. I'm in 14, Isaiah 14, verse 29.
Okay.
It says, "Rejoice not, thou, O Palestinian." We know that they changed the name of Palestine, changed the name of Israel to Palestine, right? Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
The name of Israel was changed. Jerusalem was changed to Palestine. So it says, "Rejoice not, thou, O Palestinian, because the rod of him that smote thee," talking about the rod that smote Jerusalem, right? The rod that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root, see that? Out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatree, that's a snake, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. That's Antioch Epiphanes.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't understand that. So now let's go over here to Ezekiel right quick. Let me see if I'm in the right place. Yeah, Ezekiel. I think it's Ezekiel 14. Like I say, they got Sir Francis Bacon, which is Shakespeare, and they got Josephus, and they got Philo of Alexandria, Pliny the Young, or Pliny the Elder, all them these literary geniuses. That's what they're tapping with this book. It says, let me get it. Okay. I'm in chapter 28 of Ezekiel. Right? So I was telling you about that these inside the house, inside this House of Windsor, the Princess Diana said in several cases she saw them shapeshift.
Mm-hmm.
And then some people have seen their eyes change to serpent eyes and all, they've seen all kinds of stuff. So I'm in Ezekiel chapter 28. And what another thing people don't understand is these angels can shapeshift. I showed you Michael on the bush in Ezekiel, right, in Exodus chapter 3. Mm-hmm. He came to Abraham as a man in 18. Then when Moses was at the bush, he transformed into a fire.
Fire. Mm-hmm.
That was his essence before Most High formed it. So he changed. They shapeshifted. So right here, verse chapter 28, verse 1 says, "The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man," watch this now. He ain't doing this for the GP. "Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyre," see that? The prince of Tyre, right? "Thus says the Lord God, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sat in the seat of God in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God. Though thou set thine heart as the heart of God." Who is that? And then what Satan did? Lucifer.
Lucifer, yeah.
So he talking to Lucifer. But watch this.
You say he talking to Lucifer?
He talking to Lucifer. Watch this. He the prince of Tyre, right? 4. "With thy wisdom," when he wise, wasn't serpent wise? Lucifer wise?
Yeah.
"With thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten riches, and hast gotten gold and silver in thy treasures. By thy great wisdom." He ain't talking about no man, regular man. See that? He said, "By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic." See, he shows up where all the traffic and merchandise is going on, because he bought money. Right. So he says, "By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic, as thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Therefore, thus says the Lord God, because thou hast set that heart as the heart of God, behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their sword against the beauty of thy wisdom, and thou shalt shall defile thy brightness. Thou shalt bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the death. That excuse me, thou shalt die. Thou shalt die the death of them that are slain in the midst of the sea. Will thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am God? That's what Satan said. Lucifer said, I am God. But thou shalt be a man and no God. In the hand of him that slayeth thee, thou shalt die the death of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers. For I have spoken it, says the Lord God. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me again, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus says the Lord God, thou sealest up, look at this, thou sealest up the son, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Ain't that what Satan was? Made perfect. Made perfect. Now watch this. Thou hast been in Eden. Come on now. And there's two trees in the garden.
Yeah.
One of them was Lord of hosts, and the other one was Satan. Lucifer. Look what he tell you right here. He's talking to the king of Tyrus, though. Thou hast been in Eden, in the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering. The sardis stone, the topaz, the diamond. See, he ain't talking to no regular man. The pearl, the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, carbuncle, the gold, the workmanship of thy tabrets and thy pipes were prepared in thee in the day and thou was created. So these pipes he talking about, when Aretha Franklin used to sing and Whitney Houston, they said they had pipes in it, right?
Right.
That's what he's talking about right here. He can sing a song and make you pee on yourself. So he says, 14, thou art the anointed cherub. He ain't playing with it no more. Thou art the anointed cherub that covers. This is who the king of Tyrus is. Thou art the anointed cherub that covers. I have set thee so. Thou was upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou art perfect in thy ways from the day that thou was created till iniquity was found in thee. Lucifer, right? So he over here he did more than likely kill the king of Tyrus. Now he didn't shapeshift posing as the king of Tyrus.
Right.
See that? So let's look at it. So go back to what Zeus do. Zeus got cheering all over the place. Why he doing? He going to these different kingdoms and coming in with a woman that is changing to the husband, looking like the husband. Her husband gone off the wall somewhere, and he come in, and you got to also go back to the, all of a sudden they're saying now they don't see these birds no more, but back in the day they used to see these big, huge thunderbirds. They call them thunderbirds. They're way bigger than eagles. You don't see them no more because that's what these angels was. Okay, so you go do research anyway. So he says, 15. Thou was perfect in thy ways from the day that thou was created, till iniquity was found in thee. Go watch the movie. Go watch the movie Alexandria, and you're gonna show you that bird. And then every time before they go to war, they looking up for this big thunderbird in the sky. And then when they see him, that's when they go to war. That's Zeus, but Zeus is Lucifer. And then he showed you how Philip's wife told Alexander that she had her father. His father was Zeus. She said she made love to Zeus. She went back and tell the story, and she tell you a big old bird came up to she up in the top of the castle, and he came up there. She said a big bird flew up there, flew on the thing. Then when he came off of the thing, he turned into a man, turned into a husband, and walked in there where she was at. You go watch it. So it says, 16, by the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God, and I will destroy thee, O covered cherubim, from the midst of the stones of fire. Thy heart was lifted up because of thy beauty, and thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. And I will cast thee to the ground, and I will lay thee before kings. They that that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled the sanctuary by the multitude of thy iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee, and it shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth, in the sight of all them that behold thee. And they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more. Okay, so let's break that down though, because like I said, we've been reading over all this stuff. So verse 17 says, thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee down to the ground. Now look at this. I will lay thee before kings. Who we found out what the kings was? Ain't the giants the kings?
Yes.
That's where kings come from. These giant kings. Who they fathers is? Who the giant fathers is?
The angels. The ones that went off.
The fallen angels.
Fallen angels.
Yeah, the fallen angels that came down.
Mm-hmm.
They're the father of these giants. Right? Mm-hmm. Who instructing these fallen angels?
Lucifer.
Lucifer, yeah. Lucifer instructing these giants going up in these high places. Where they going to? They going up in these high places to make altars and to worship Lucifer and worship
Lucifer.
Worship these fallen angels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So look what he said. I'm gonna read it again. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee down to the ground. I will lay thee before kings. That's these giants.
The giant, okay.
That they may behold thee. See that? Right? Now 18. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuary by the multitude of thy iniquity, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from in the midst of thee, and it shall devour thee. And I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of, look at this, in the sight of all them that, behold thee. Who beholding him? These fallen angels and these giants. Come on. And all they that know thee. The fallen angels is who we dealing with, and these giants was the ones they the ones knowing.
Right.
Come on. See that? Yeah, so thought I'd go into that. Any comments, questions? Yeah, it's a lot more going on in that book than they hoodwink.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So let me get it over here. Nobody have no comments or questions?
No comments or questions.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do right here, like I said, I'm trying to open up for a little Q&A at the end of class. So because somebody may have a question from a previous class or something that was said earlier in the class. So anybody have anything, questions or comments before we close out about, something they wanted to know about, something they wanted to share? Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so I guess I'm gonna see everybody on Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Let me hit this real quick. All right. Shalom. I'll see y'all on Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Shalom.
Shalom, everybody.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.